And we're back, and you are listening to Villaincast, BJJ Anti-Heroes, with myself, Chris the Villain Paynes, and Naki El Jefe Arshed. And welcome to Read the Week. But first, a quick thank you to our members at In Theory BJJ Concept Driven Jiu-Jitsu for fight commentary, technique and concept videos, private coaching, monthly webinars, and Q&A sessions. Please visit www.patreon.com/InTheoryBJJ. That came out weirder.
Yeah, there was a tone change or something.
Yeah, no. I suddenly got excited. I'm always excited. Hello.
Hola.
Hola.
How are you?
I'm good. It says 0% on yours. Is that true?
84% and 99%.
I think Riverside's just... I think they've made so many updates to this software recently. I think it's just... it's being silly sometimes.
Yeah. So, it's going up again. 88% now.
Yeah, I'm getting a 0 on my side. So I'm assuming it's going to work. We'll find out.
Yeah, I think it
We'll find out. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's been a good week again of training. How's your trip?
It was good. It was good. It was quick. It was short. But it was good, like, especially because it was in Joker. Obviously, you've been Joker. How lovely is Bern?
Yeah, great city.
Dude, how pretty is that river? Like, how much did it, like, when you first see the area, whatever it is, that runs through Bern, and it is that insane green colour, it throws you, like, damn, this looks weird. And then you walk up to it, it's like looking into a swimming pool. It's literally crystal clear. It's so strange. Yeah, it's a very pretty city as well. Highly recommend Bern. Expensive ass place though.
Yeah.
Yeah, expensive ass place. Yeah, it was nice. It was great seeing them, and that gym as well. The dojo they've got, the Maru dojo, like that kind of old Japanese styling that it's got to it.
Yeah.
You were on the top floor, weren't you?
Yeah, I didn't get to see it.
Didn't you get to see it? You didn't go up to...
No.
Oh, you were in the black mats?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Oh, the upstairs.
No, it was
really
just one
nice.
of them days where that class fell on that slot fell on that room.
Yeah, they have to change it up. Still, it's such a lovely, like, especially under the bridge. It's just, yeah, it's a really, it's a pretty ass city. Although, I mean, I think you probably agree with this. So this is a quote that Graugart said, Christian Graugart, back at, like, I think the first Globetrotters camp. He got interviewed. I don't think this part got cut. And he did say that back then, 11 years ago, jiu-jitsu is a better vehicle for seeing the world than it is a sport. And you think of the amount of places we've been to because of jiu-jitsu and the amount of experiences we've had. Like, sometimes I have to sit back and I have to go, wow, life is weird because of this sport. It's very easy to just be like, okay, yeah, you got routine, you go to your own gym, and et cetera, et cetera. But, you think of the places we've been that we thought we'd never go to when we first went to the States.
Yeah, true. The States was the one where I'd never think, I never thought I'd go to the States. It wasn't anything that I'd ever think I'd do.
But you think that came about because of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And you thought it's as well, it's the fact that jiu-jitsu can take you to places, if you allow it, that would never be on your radar. Like, you've only got a certain amount of finances and time, etc., to be able to do anything in your life, and obviously the more time and more finances you have, you'll be able to go more places. But there's still, it's you have a map in your head of the places you want to go and see. And what I found with this jiu-jitsu life is I go to the places that weren't on my map, and I get there, I'm like, it always should have been. Like,
it's good. This traveling thing is good with jiu-jitsu. I love it.
Like Salem, we went to Salem. In what planet lifetime would you ever go to Salem?
Yeah, true.
And like, we went to the site where the witches are buried. What in the hell? And then you think, like, we've had those experiences. You came to meet Imanari, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, like this, meeting Imanari in Amsterdam.
Yeah, and they're rolling with him as well.
What? Yeah, exactly. Like, what? like when you first walked in as a white belt to Fighting Fit, or even before that to with a bass, did you ever think that, like, and that's what I find so insane, and I wish I could beat this into people's heads, is that this sport is so much bigger than you can give it credit for. You walk into that gym for the first time and think, oh, cool, I'm going to learn a martial art. And it's like, no. If you allow it, this will blow your mind.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, and yeah. I have to sit back sometimes and I just realize that, holy shit, like, how did I end up there? Like, I have like these photos behind the screen, like I'm looking at it right now. Like, you know, I've got a picture of, like, pretty much in my eye line right now of me and you sitting in Fanatics for the first time against the wall. But I'm like, I see ones where I'm in like Deadwood or whatever it is, like an old Wild West town in South Dakota. I'm like, what? Why? How did I get there? So strange. Did you ever come to the Luta Livre camps?
Yeah, in Germany.
Yeah, Lübeck or Wolfsburg.
Wolfsburg.
Yeah, again, like, why would you ever go to Wolfsburg?
Yeah, true.
We went around the Volkswagen, like, center.
Yeah.
Bruh. Like, again, that, I'm just, you know, we've got this right behind right now. That gym that we slept on the gym floor for the camp, I've got that right there as well, printed off. And just like, oh yeah, when we had those, like, vinyl kids kind of play shapes things that we used to sleep on in sleeping bags. There's so many that happened. So after last week's podcast ranting about jiu-jitsu and it being for all in a way, like, again, I understand maybe a slight irony and hypocrisy of what I'm saying right now, that if you allow it, jiu-jitsu can take you further. And, you know, it can't always be the case. But it is a vehicle. It is a vehicle. That podcast went out in such a way that people responded and they were like, yeah, jiu-jitsu is a bit ridiculous. And so I want to go further into it being ridiculous, if you will allow it, sir.
No problem. You know me. I'm game for anything.
Oh, I know you are. So
especially if it's violence.
I was about to say, that came out weirder. That came out a bit like this is like just like two lovers having a conversation. Like, oh, you know, I'm up for anything, especially if it's violence. Okay. So the thing that's kind of like really getting into me right now, and I don't know if I feel ridiculous for thinking it, or if I'm being like hyper liberal or something. But especially considering the background that we came in, like, you know, I came in a very, very violent version of submission grappling, like where you kind of close the door, it's God's blind spot. What happens in this room, you know, stays in this room. And it's very easy to, you know, from cultural kind of like media and stuff to kind of go that, like, you know, Rocky kind of like, you know, you train, and it's like almost like some sort of Fight Island, like Bruce Lee film. And it's like guys like breaking boards over each other's heads or whatever, and like that's what the kind of image you have of martial arts. Which I think as well is what creates so much confidence in people, especially coaches, where they can, like, you know, or even other people on the mats, like, you walk into this room, it's lawless. Like, we can do things in here that you can't do outside. And now, and being, you know, an early 20s, mid-20s male and going, yeah, it's Fight Island. You go in there and you can do whatever you want. If you want to, like, really hurt someone, you can really hurt someone. And now I'm older, I'm like, yeah, that's fucking immature as shit. And you have no, as a gym owner, operator, coach, whatever, you have no moral, legal discourse for that. Like, sorry, it's insanity. Your thoughts from that first part? Is that how you felt things were?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think it comes with all that old school mentality of everything's got to be pain and everything's got to be this, you know, graft, which is there, yes, but there is a scientific method to it all, which obviously now with the years has I'm thinking of it from an MMA and a jiu-jitsu kind of perspective, because they've both grown parallel to each other. I mean, obviously jiu-jitsu's been slower in that climb because MMA is completely like overtook it in that way, naturally so. But jiu-jitsu and MMA rose because of UFC, and then jiu-jitsu was what made it explode, blah, blah, blah. But
carry on.
Go on.
No, carry on. I'll add a retort to that once you finished.
Yeah. So, as MMA grew, more money investments and started getting invested into the actual sport, which meant better science. And then, as you can see now, like the athletes these days, it's just natural. They are better, stronger, and probably have better fight IQ than the fighters before. And we're seeing that with jiu-jitsu now, where the money's coming in, so the science is better. Even like your semi-pro athletes, jiu-jitsu guys, if you want to say, like, their nutrition is right. They look after themselves. They know how to train. They're not killing themselves with this. We've always got a grind mentality. There's a body has to go through a period of work, rest, and then recovery. So I think you are right. And I think people need to start talking about it more, because there is still a lot of gyms that exist like this, and it's not good to, number one, keep people in. Because again, if you're a gym like this, then you're not going to have many people in there who are going to, aren't always broken as well. And then the quality of training goes, and the consistency of training goes as well. So I think, again, naturally it will slowly die out anyway, but people need to start talking about it.
Oh, yeah, completely. Although I will add the retort, is that I think MMA was always the vehicle for trying to drag jiu-jitsu up, as in the spectacle of MMA. I think going back all the way to UFC 1, what was UFC 1, if not a construct from the Gracies to allow them to show off jiu-jitsu? So the spectacle of MMA allowed them to get more exposure for jiu-jitsu, but it's always been the car dragging jiu-jitsu behind it, because it's got more spectacle to it. So, like
100%.
You said that the growth of jiu-jitsu is linked to MMA. Yeah, because jiu-jitsu's hogtied to the back of MMA's car. And as MMA drives, jiu-jitsu gets dragged behind it.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Yeah, kind of. And, jiu-jitsu's been slowly kind of like cutting its arms and legs free from MMA, and is now completely irrelevant to MMA, and MMA's just driven off into the distance. That's a different conversation. But yeah, you are right. Like, it's now we've the early days of MMA, it was very much a case of, you were just a hard nut who liked having a scrap. And now we're definitely into the era of, sport. It's a sport. And because it is a sport, we should treat it as a sport. And conversations I was kind of having in Bern just is that a coach's control of the gym, I'd say, is probably the same, if not more important than their technical ability. And it's one thing I've been pushing recently, and it's when you say it out loud, it sounds so utterly insane from a mature standpoint of, we do submissions. And when you break, I had almost like an epiphany in the car a few days ago, because I thought I was trying to explain submissions again in my head, because I'm bored like that. When you do a joint submission, you're not, again, it's the meatheadification of it. Of break his arms, break his legs. Like, you're not breaking anything. You're spraining and tearing ligaments. They're joint submissions. You don't break joints. There's nothing to break. And then, why do we do joint submissions? To cause injury. We're trying to tear ligaments and cause someone serious injury that, if done correctly, will require surgery and long periods of time of recovery. And so how blasé we can be about it, that we give these things to complete beginners sometimes, without proper controls. And I can teach a seminar on like joint submissions, etc. And the first thing I'll say is, paint your target, identify what you're doing. And even like, the most basic submissions, I'll say, what are you doing here? Like, show me on them, what are you ripping? And they can't. They know they cause pain. They've probably got a few wins with that submission. And they'll say, right, well, what are you actually doing here? Like, even in a most layman's way, what are you ripping? Like, you're aware, I assume, of most of the muscles and ligaments on your own body. What are you doing? And they'll paint the wrong part. Or they'll say something entirely insane. Like, amount of times I've heard someone say, yeah, in a heel hook, I'm breaking the heel. What? What the fuck did you just say? And yeah, you're causing an injury and you have no understanding of what injury you're causing. And if it's going to be successful or not, you just hope that they tap before that injury occurs, whatever the injury is. And unfortunately, ignorance isn't an excuse for negligence. Like, if you're using these tools, like you're not a child, you're a damn adult using dangerous things. Explain yourself. And that's from a and this is for both black belts here. The control of the room, and that's all of a sudden, like, with joint submissions especially, like, when you see someone on the mats, like, showing like someone else's submission, I'm like, you better be backing that up with a full explanation of the damage they're going to cause and how they're going to cause it. Not just, yeah, I saw this cool submission online, or, look at this submission I know. Like, no, back it up. You're currently handing a weapon to this person. Back up what you're saying and how it fits in with how to do it safely, with control. So you don't cause the injury. Otherwise, if I'm allowing that to happen, it's on my ass. I don't have control of the room. And if they get injured, if they use it and injure someone else, who's it come down on? Us. And it's the same with chokes. And again, like, not understanding chokes. I was talking to Owen when he gave me a lift down to Yeovil. He's a very good physio, and he was explaining that the spine has, I'm going off his word here because of his more professional understanding than I have, is that the spine has 4 millimeters of shear to it before it gets damaged badly. 4 millimeters of shear, like, vertebrae stacked, shear it across 4 millimeters. And you think, if you don't understand how chokes work, and you're just fucking cranking the shit out of their neck, you have 4 millimeters of play before you cause pretty extensive damage. Or even like the whole thing about grabbing someone's neck from standing and falling backwards. 4 millimeters. And there's a break or something to someone's spine. And again, if you don't understand how chokes work, if you just understand, yeah, but if I squeeze the neck, they tap and stuff. Okay, cool. Have you factored in spinal injuries in this? Yeah, but it's it's jiu-jitsu where we can do this stuff. Can you? Really? Morally? Is that right? Like, in this room? Competition, yeah, all bets are off, as long as you operate within the rules. But in this room right now, to your own friends, do you think that's acceptable? I don't think so. So when those people see chokes online, like, people, it's so irresponsible. Like, they fuck me, it's so irresponsible. Like, people showing submissions and shit on Instagram and no explanation for what the fuck is happening.
I agree. This is why we've got that series, haven't we? Insta versus reality.
Completely. Like, when people are showing mad shit of no context, and you're just there like, hey, that doesn't even fucking work. But I think you could even go one step further and like, did you just explain what you just did? You could probably even do that. We'll mic you up and go, do you know what you just did?
Yeah.
Like, you just gave out this fucking weapon with no context. And you're just going to leave it out there. Like, what the hell? I mean, sure, I'm probably guilty of so many of these things in the past, but that's my own ignorance. But it's my job to improve upon that ignorance and think about these things. Not just like, oh yeah, I learned more jiu-jitsu, but like, no, I need to understand my jiu-jitsu. And the more I do this, and the more I realize that, when we talked about the whole risk assessment idea before, as in when you have more dangerous things, more hazardous things, you need to introduce more things that control risk and chance and controls. And again, with anything legally, is ignorance an excuse? Oh, I didn't know you couldn't murder people. Ooh, am I in trouble now? Fucking yes. I didn't know if I did this properly, I'd snap his neck. Ooh, shit. Sorry, it's not an excuse. Ooh, I didn't know you couldn't grab the head and jump backwards. Ooh, shit. Ooh, yeah, he looks unwell now. Ooh, shit. Yeah, and so take ownership of that, and it's the coach's job as well to. I mean, we have a laugh in the gym that I get called Chris Jong-un for being a dictator. It's fucking good reason. Like I've literally got a room of people like running around with fucking knives and guns. Essentially, I'm like with like real ones. And if I don't have
sometimes literally,
yeah. Oh yeah, as in when we used to play the games with wild card submissions. Like yeah, it doesn't have to be a submission, but there's a plastic gun on the floor now. If you can get that, it's a win.
You win.
Yeah, I miss those. We should play that again. It got so wild. You had guys putting the gun in the guy's mouth, that's an execution. And yeah, all of a sudden it terrified the shit out of me being a jiu-jitsu coach. That. Yeah, I have to take a step back from the things that I'm teaching and go, actually, or allowing in the room. And it's hard, when you've already got an established jiu-jitsu club, of being able to spread the message effectively, because people can come in after a period of time off and all of a sudden they're cranking the shit out of things like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'll say it again. Don't. You can't. It's not the Wild West anymore. We're a sport. We're a legitimate sport. If we want to take it legitimately, we can't have that mindset of ignorance.
True, correct. It does change everything.
It does. And, yourself being a black belt and a coach, it's, I saw the session obviously you ran earlier, and it's like you're doing the right thing of trying to improve it as a sport. And I think environment is such a big part of that. We're really pushing that narrative right now that we're on the same damn team. And especially one of the things we introduced recently of, it's been such a big learning curve period of not just doing a beginner course of what do we teach beginners, but actually how do we form a club that is safe? And one of those things is obviously when we had that lad who was a bit aggressive, you'd seen some stuff online, and I was like, no, A, I'm gonna fucking have a go if you use any of it, and B, if you want to suddenly go harder on people for whatever strange reason, I think there has to be that level of we learn that sparring is a learned play, for team benefit. Fuck your own progress, it's team progress. But you need to obviously, if you want to have the hard rounds, agree to it. Say at the beginning of the round, we're going to go. And as soon as those words are uttered and it's agreed upon, gloves are off. Cool, let's do it then. But it's an agreement. If you ever have, but you still respect that other person's safety in a moral way more than anything else.
Should we start introducing a safe word?
Safe word. Well, no, but I think it's the other way around. As in, it's always safe, but as in if people going a bit too hard. Imagine you're having a safe roll, and all of a sudden someone goes a little bit too much. You need to be able to say, "We're going to go," because I didn't agree to that. Oh shit!
That's
my
where
bad.
the safe word comes out.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's no, because again, those things are important, and it's easy to then look at that and go, pussies.
I'm having a laugh.
But it's serious, as I say, in a sense of, if it's the coach's control of the environment, that if he's allowing that thing to propagate. Imagine that I was Alex Ferguson in charge of Manchester United, and I watched my strikers just fucking laying into each other. Ooh, that's a problem. Ooh. I'll ignore that. No, sorry. You control the environment. And, Alex, bless him, was probably one of the best managers out there because I imagine he had a fucking iron fist with it all.
Yeah, literally, that was his main thing, man management.
Exactly. How is that any different here?
Yeah, it's true. It's true, 100%.
Completely. And I hear so many stories of people who I heard one literally in the last day or so ago where someone lost or didn't get the win against a woman on their team, like a male, didn't get a win this female teammate, and they refused to train with her because he was like, I don't want to lose to her. What the hell? You're on the same damn team.
What?
Dude, but how often do you think that shit happens? Of people getting their ass in their hands because, I lost to that person. Like, even Jordan teaches jiu-jitsu, and, I obviously respect his coaching abilities, but even he, put up a video recently saying, you got your gym rival, you need to, you want to beat that guy one day. You're propagating that same toxic environment about being alpha. Like, I'm better than my gym rival kind of shit. What do you mean a gym rival? You're on the same team.
Yeah, true.
And that's why, again, I think we've always had such a, especially after the split, we've had such a positive working relationship because, especially, when you got your brown belt, black belt, it's actually you're a peer. I'm not in competition with you. Okay, I'm head coach and shit, and I need to try and control the environment, but we've never we've had hard roles, but neither of us get our arse in the hands if anything goes the other person's way. Cool, that was a great learning experience. We won't do that again.
Yes, true.
There's times where you've spanked my legs, and I haven't suddenly gone, well, fuck this guy, and walked off.
Yeah.
I mean,
true,
shit,
true.
You got me that time. Bollocks. Yeah, I can see where I went wrong on that one. Cheers, Knack. I didn't suddenly go, whoa, he's better than me. Oh, I've been cucked, and walk off.
You don't get better, man. This is what people need to understand. You won't get better if you have that mentality.
No, it's a team mentality. It's you need the other people in the room to make you better, and by extension, you becoming better. Everyone rising together. And when you have that hierarchy and that propagation of rivalry against your own teammates, then you get toxic personalities and toxic traits in people coming out. I mean, we've seen it over the years. I remember one of the guys in the early days, he got controlled and maybe dropped a little bit hard at one point, and he took up and swung at the other guy's head, and it was by the grace of a whiskers missed him. I'm like, what the piss just happened? Just because you lost and you got taken down a bit hard, you fucking want to punch the other guy in the face. The fuck are you doing? And again, that's my bad for allowing that environment at the time. And I think that's important as well, is that the gym environment is the direct responsibility of the coach. It's management. If you were the manager or the CEO of a big corporation or whatever, and that corporation starts doing mad shit at lower levels, fucking whatever the hell, insane sexual harassment or fucking war crimes, it wouldn't go, ooh, I didn't know that was happening. Oh, shit. Don't blame me. No, you create that culture. If you allowed it to happen, that's your management allowed that to happen. No one else. It's yours. If your spans of control weren't there, then that's your stupid fault.
Yep, it's true. It always comes from the top down.
Exactly. And it was actually interesting as well. So, we obviously gave out a couple of blue belts last week. And that was one of the things that, because we've talked for ages about, with this new kind of non-jiu-jitsu, how the hell do you give belts out? Especially when, like we said last week, of not pushing competition because it's, it can be, oh man, I'm sound like a fucking hyper-liberal.
Supreme leader.
Communist. I'm so left-wing. But the idea, like, not pushing competition because it's you know, especially if you want to but you can't afford it, like it automatically puts you like, well, I'm not going to succeed, or you know, if you remember that conversation, the important one from last week. I can't remember what I was going with that. What was I saying?
Or the conversation, or the blue belts.
The blue belt. Yeah, blue belt. Sorry, my brain just went fried. Yeah, so one of the hardest parts is like, you know, how do you give out blue belts to some guys who aren't competing because for whatever reasons? You know, I'm not on about the ones who just gave them out to, but, you know, for future references. But how do we gauge blue beltiness then? What is even the point of a belt? And that's like, we've had those conversations, and like, so what point did you get to with like handing them out? Like, if competitions are exclusatory or whatever, if that's even a word, and the jiu-jitsu we're doing has no relationship to traditional BJJ, how the fuck do you give a blue belt out?
It's tough, man. But I just kind of based it off how their roles were going against me, and then watching them against other people. And yeah, man, it's just the race that they're getting better. And it's like you said, the jiu-jitsu, but non-jiu-jitsu, like, there's things that they're really good at, which really good jiu-jitsu guys aren't good at. And these guys have picked up and got good at quick. And there's things which jiu-jitsu guys do, which these guys can't do yet. You know, and it's like, how do you mix the old way we used to promote and this new way? So it's one of them. I could just say, like, using intuition at the moment, just that they're ready, and obviously it gives them a push. I know you said competition is excluded, you know, we're not including that, but I think for me it's one of them where I would like to see them a blue belt to compete, see how they get on, you know.
I think because we're both experienced, we've both been around a long time, and we've both travelled, and we've rolled because we're both black belts. We've rolled with every belt quite extensively.
Yeah.
So we kind of got a rough feel for the kind of level on like a sport of what you'd kind of expect at everything. So I know that the ones we gave out, I know they'd kill at that level because I felt it. But I think the more important part, and I did say this at the time, is that I now look at them as non-probationary members of the team. So as in, when you come as a white belt, I'm trying to basically teach you football. You know, that's my job. But when you get your blue belt, I see you as someone who is part of the A team, of like the first team now or whatever. And if I say to you, right, strategy's changed, I need you to do this, you do it.
You basically made men, you know, when you're in the mafia.
Yeah.
You joined you become a made man.
Well, no, but it'd be like, as in, like, you know, same with football, soccer, whatever you want to call it. Like, you know, you have people on your team and you know they can play football. Like, they might have to coach them in various ways if they're making mistakes. But by and large, you know they can play football. And if you suddenly say, right, actually, strategy for this, you know, upcoming game or something, we need to change it up. I need you to now play this way because this makes more sense for the benefit of the team. We're going to play this strategy. And they go, cool, boss, yeah, no worries. And that's what I felt like. I was watching Ollie roll, and I was, you know, talking to one of the new white belts at the time, and I went, look, I changed the strategy recently because I thought this made more sense, and he's already doing it. That's why I know he's a blue belt, because if I say to him, strategy's changed, do that now, he does it, and then he makes the team better because he's doing it. And I'm like, that is, you know, and same with the guys who just gave him to. I know they were all like that. If I say to them, right, guys, I need you to do this for me, they do it. I'm like, holy shit. Like, this feels like an actual team. Like, and that felt like, okay, you know, in this kind of new way of looking at things, I know they'd kill, you know, and they do, you know, if they do compete or don't compete. But I also know now that if I say, okay, cool, like, strategy's changed, you know, for the upcoming game, I need you to do this. But doesn't that sound like something you'd hear, like, of New Wave, of B Team or something like that, like Danaher? Like, you know.
Yeah, but in short, you know, how you have a short URL.
Yeah.
You're basically saying in jiu-jitsu to move forward, the ability to get better at jiu-jitsu is based upon how good you are at following orders.
Whoa. Isn't that coaching? Isn't that how coachable you are?
Exactly, 100%.
Because, we remember Bryony, and she was someone
yes.
that, I can remember, her first competition, she wiped out her division. Then we put her into the next available division at Blue Belt Absolute, and she wiped that one out. It's because she was a very coachable person. She'd obviously done gymnastics for most of her life, but I was essentially living through her. Is that I was watching that fight, I went, Bryony, do this, bang. Okay, now do this, bang. And I'm like,
yeah. True.
Isn't that but essentially, isn't that it? As in, we're a team game. We see ourselves as a team, and we've got rid of that. Everyone is so happy right now. There's no, when I hear so many stories of toxicity on the mats, we have zero of that. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, don't jinx it though. Flip it out. Can't tell the whole world.
Yeah, watch it all fall apart and the gym explodes. I cursed it. But it's like, there's obviously there's always going to be certain little kinks coming up, and you need to manage those things. But when I see a blue belt, then it's someone that I can go, right, I know you know how to play the game. If I say to you, I need you to do this to make the team better, you'll do this to make the team better. I think then, like a purple belt, again, I know what one would feel like, is someone who can explain the strategies and pass them forwards. Like if I say to you, right, okay, cool, the strategy is this, propagate it, cool, right. Strategy's right this like now. So you understand what we're doing? Cool. Because it means we need to do this. That they are, team captains kind of thing. And then you've got brown belts who are like, these are essentially, in the manager training program. Again, they're absolute murderers. But, someone who I can go, right, what do you think about this upcoming game? Right, right, boss. I think we should need to do this and this and this. Cool. Yeah, I think you're right. Like strategy makers.
Yeah, they're really eyes and ears of the gym, aren't they? And then they, yeah,
exactly. I think looking at it from that perspective and having those kind of roles, it completely again wipes out a lot of the hierarchy problem. As in, that kind of idea that we have these kind of team captains that can kind of propagate the ideas, and they can be trusted for it, and they understand the game. And then you've got these people who are able to, who've experienced so much of the game, they can feed back and go, right, yeah, okay, yeah, because I can see this is happening. We should be able to play this. Yeah, I think you're right. And then you've got blue belts who are yeah, cool, we're part of the team. And we know how to play the game. What do you need to do? Absolutely. Holy shit! I know it sounds almost terrifying on some sort of 1984 Orwellian kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it sounds like a fucking structure with, you got all this politics mixed with the fucking military structure.
Yeah, but I'm from a militaristic background. I was in the fire service, and pretty much everyone who's ex-military goes into the fire service in the UK and fucking does all the training, and and it's one thing I realized from being in that environment was. That's essentially what training was. They put you through something horrendous in training because they knew that when the time comes, they could count on you. That if when you've got this person who's got a more, and the best advice I ever had as a manager is step back, look at the big picture. Instead of getting into the front door of the house fire and getting obsessed with what's happening, going in the doors, take a step back, think of the strategy. Oh shit, there's a fire coming out that window up there, right? But if I turn around to a firefighter and go, well, I need you to do this, and they're like, nah, fuck you, boss. Cool. Let's not get anything done then. If you want to be a fucking cowboy and go out on your own, I guess people are going to die. But if you go, yeah, I know you know what you're doing. Can you go and do that for me? Yes, boss, no worries. Cool. Gets done. So I think carrying some of that kind of attitude over and actually, and the white belt program then that we're kind of going through right now is that giving everyone essentially the ability to play the game. If I know that you can play this game, then I can coach you to make it the whole team better. But if you're cowboying off, then it's, again that's why the criticisms I've always had of jiu-jitsu is that it's like trying to herd cats with an air horn. Hey guys, and they just all fucking scatter. That's most jiu-jitsu. Most jiu-jitsu clubs, you literally just you teach them a bunch of techniques, and it's fucking every man for themselves.
Yeah.
And then you have all the toxicity problems. I know this sounds, again, like you said, Orwellian, 1984, militaristic, whatever, taking away people's free will.
No, it works, man. Structures everything.
It is, and it fucking is. Like we can't rely on the fact that we're just people who understand jiu-jitsu and are good at fucking. Like again, what's the criteria for running? When you see the conversations online, like, oh my god, this gym's not run by a black belt. What does that mean? That person was a fucking badass and could beat people up. Great. What is that? How is that relevant at all to running a fucking gym? Hey, cool. That guy over there is really hard, so he can run this place because no one's gonna be able to test him. Hey, okay, great.
Sazard.
Pardon?
Can you remember that Sazard?
Yeah, dude. I think you just showed A, like what part of the country you live in, and B, how old you are.
Sazard.
Yeah, that sounds very familiar. Although I think that's a very millennial, maybe Gen X kind of thing to say. Wow,
talk to the hand because the face ain't listening.
Oh my god, yeah, dude. When you realize that the early 2000s and stuff like that was like over 20 years ago now, that's like in year 2000 as the millennium change. That's like referencing stuff from the 70s. Like, you sound nuts.
Let's see if anybody picks up on the references.
That's why I can't laugh when you see like photos from like the early 2000s of like emo hair and shit like that, because it's the same as like I say, being the era of like Oasis and Robbie Williams, and then seeing people in disco clothing. Like, yeah, oh wow, that seems ancient. That seems weird. Again, I don't know if this is ever going to work. I don't know if this whole plan is working. I guess we're only go one day find out. And people can run the gyms how they want, but if you I have to preface this by saying fuck Hannah Gracie anyway. But when that
selling jiu-jitsu out.
But when that guy got hurt, was it last year, or year before?
I know.
Yeah, and like he sold everyone out. Like there's a tiny grain of truth to what he said. Like obviously it was a massive accident, but there was a tiny grain of truth in there. Is that it's only because he was unlucky that happened. Like shit happened, the guy rolled weird, and he went over, and the accident happened. But you think that I'm old enough to remember in jiu-jitsu that the moment when head outside single legs were banned at white belt or jumping guard. And you think, oh my God, they're making it, why can't you do those things? And people say, well, we just don't do it. Well, no, you have to explain it. Why can't you jump guard? Because if it goes wrong, you'll blow their knees out because you've got no control of yourself because you're flying through the air. Or why can't you do a head outside single? Because if they grab hold of your neck or your head's down like that, they'll break it because it was happening. As silly as the IBJJF is sometimes, like I kind of understand it. Like, to a degree. There's a grain of salt that is true in there. But I've literally just thrown up in my mouth from saying those words. But they have got that kind of slight health and safety-ish element to it. Unfortunately, they're kind of expecting that people will be able to propagate that information correctly. And they're still allowing certain things with no context that can cause injuries. Allowing some submissions but not others. Well, why have you allowed some? They're all destroying ligaments. What's wrong with those ones compared to those ones? And
a lot of questions they can't answer.
Exactly. It's people flying by the seat of their pants a lot of the time. And that goes, all the way back around to what I said at the beginning. Like, morally, is ignorance an excuse for negligence? And it isn't. Like, you can't be handing out. Essentially, we're a fucking gun shop that don't realize that, like, or don't give a shit that bullets come out of these things. Like, hey guys, have all these weapons. What? Someone got shot? Fuck. Oh, bollocks. I didn't think that would happen. You fucking gave him the gun and the bullets. Like, what do you think was going to happen? You gave it to those children with no context, and then that child shot someone? Like, oh, well, damn. Well, I mean, actually, that goes back to what we were saying previously, is, we are teaching people a skill that we have that understands how to seriously damage ligaments, or even kill someone or cause brain damage by limiting blood to the brain. And we're going to give that to people who might have questionable morals. I know we can't control that, but still, it's like it keeps you up at night. Also, this is actually an interesting question then, because you now run the MMA program. Knowing what we now know about CTE, how do you manage that as a coach, morally?
So I made it very clear from the first session. I was like, look, to the head, I don't want to see any shots that are winded up. I don't want to see any heavy shots to the head. Straights mainly, stepping in hooks. Basically, I've trusted them. I said, look, I'm going to trust you guys if we're going to do headshots, because it's part of the game. And if we're not going to use head guards, we can't fucking hit each other in our head. You know what I mean? And if anybody does feel a bit dizzy after getting hit, or if you see any stars, you got to sit down, man. You got to, or if you get dropped, you got to have a few seconds, you got to have some few minutes out, or maybe not train at all, because it's serious. People don't realize the kind of damage it does to you. And then obviously on the floor, our usual rules: open hand slaps to the face, or nicely, you have to go and be nice. And body a bit more. You can, if I usually say, if they're your friend, then they let you hit them a bit harder in the belly, in the body, and then on the legs, go to town.
Yeah, I mean, you hear those guys like Holloway and stuff who don't spar and don't eat those head injuries in practice, and you think, again, it's easy to kind of go for the tap out era, kind of like, oh, pussy, he doesn't want to get hurt. But at the same time, you have again, I've said it before, using my previous experiences of, when someone's in a car accident, we have this idea of the 3 impacts of, first the car hits the tree, and then you hit the inside of the car, and then your organs hit the inside of your skeleton. And that's, what CTE is. It's bruising on the brain because it's getting rattled around in your skull. And if anything, this is one thing that I found quite interesting about boxing, is that bigger gloves and headgear doesn't protect against rattling the brain inside the skull. It defends against superficial injuries, absolutely, but if anything, it allows you to hit the brain harder. And if all you're ever doing is hitting people in the skull and rattling their brains around, you're gonna cause damage to it. And I'm not going to name names, but a friend of ours who even said, if he's some relationship into the UFC, and said that if people knew what the fighters were like after a fight, he'd never tell them to do MMA. Unless it's properly done, and you have to give people that initial, are you fully aware? I know you've seen it online and you see the glory of MMA and boxing, but you're all aware that, if we don't manage this correctly, it's brain damage. Sometimes irreversible brain damage. We saw that video the other day of Nam Phan, early 2013 Nam Phan, quick talking, witty and all that kind of stuff. And then 2024 Nam Phan, and he's a shell. He's barely coherent. And this is a guy who's now damaged his brain so much he can't do anything else. You think, for what? Is he? And you hear so many stories of those guys who ex UFC who literally haven't got anything now because they're incapable. And they're people at the pinnacle. And then you've got these kids coming in who see the glory of MMA but don't realize, actually, no, you okay with this? Are you okay with brain damage? It's our job again to step out of that grimy kind of whatever happens in this place kind of mentality. okay, cool. Like, we're going to make it so actually we understand that it's, accelerating your brain around your skull is probably not the best for you. So we're going to shape it up, introduce you, make you understand this as well. So you get to have a long and fulfilling life that isn't ruined because we were ignorant. And they do say like adding protection makes things worse. Like American football, because they've got all that padding on the helmets, they can run harder at each other. Like, yeah, they're not causing superficial injuries as much, but their brain still gets rattled. It scares me about wrestling sometimes. I think it's a lot safer compared to getting hit in the head relentlessly. But, we still get, how many times have I been concussed because something we've done?
Yeah, same. Like sometimes when you go for like a rolling knee bar or something, you can bang your head on the floor, man, and you go a bit.
Yeah, there's been times where I remember that time I think I tried to get on your back, but you stood up at the same time, went flying over the front.
Yeah, shit like that happens all the time.
But I went to hospital that night.
Fuck, it was that bad?
Dude, I was talking at half speed. Like, I landed on my head so hard that I was talking at half speed. Like, I remember calling my mom and I was like, "Hey, Mom, I've just landed." And she went, "Oh, that doesn't sound good. Like, maybe we should get you an ambulance." And like they put me in observation for a bit. But like, shit, that was jiu-jitsu. And that was an accident. I landed a bit weird, ended up concussing myself a little bit, and speaking at half speed. Now imagine doing that all the time. Like, completely concussing people over and over and over again. So I think there's a lot of merit to actually what, people like Max are saying of, in sparring, you don't have to fucking kill each other. You don't have to cause damage that will shorten your career and potentially your life. Is there a reason for this? Just because it's fucking God's blind spot when we walk in here?
True.
And that's one of the reasons why, again, I trusted you with the course, because I'm like, yeah, I know he's smart. He's a smart sports coach. And then I think of other gyms, maybe, who don't have a similar mentality. I'm like, cool, that's negligence. That is negligence.
Yeah.
And it's, final point. It's we talked about this in the past, and I've talked about the idea of negligence. When we did like the fitness forms, or talking about the risk assessment of people going, "Oh, right, so if the law comes that you can cover your own back," no, like the original reason for introducing health and safety into the workplace was so people stop dying. If they're down the mines, fucking dying, how about you bring in some control measures to stop them from dying? Because we're killing people. It sounds boring, but same shit here. Hey, how about you introduce some rules that stop people getting injured as often, either mildly or badly? Is that so the law doesn't come at you? No, it's just because I'm a good person. These people are paying me for a hobby, and I'm being negligent and allowing them to get hurt and being in a toxic environment that they then learn to hate and want to quit. Like, no, I do it for that reason, dickhead. Let's see how this one goes down. As a podcast compared to the last one.
It's still around, we'll see.
Yeah, I think I need to try and see if I can find you a reason to rant throughout the week. Again, we didn't put the questions up last week, so what I'll do is I'll put some up this week. And please give Naki something to rant about. You've heard him on this. You know what can set him off. You know certain things. You can say certain trigger words, and you'll start to lose his marbles. I'm already apparently so incredibly angry, but he's not yet. Let's do him in. Let's make it worse. He said he's Zen. He can't be anymore. It can't be good cop, bad cop. It has to be.
You're gonna make me ruin my reputation.
Dude, don't you bullshit me. I know what you're like with cooking people. Like, you don't submit them, but they can't walk afterwards because you put pressure on their legs. Which, again, from a team perspective, you're not causing injury, and you are trying to improve certain aspects of team strategy. So I approve. You're not doing it in a malicious way to prove that you're better.
Exactly.
But you are El Chefe. I like how on here we call you El Jefe, and then we go in the gym and it's like El Chefe. It's like, wait,
Chef him up.
which one is it? It's like, yeah, because he's the cook.
What's on the menu today?
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna keep ranting. I'm gonna have to stop this, but it's already one of the longest ones we've done. But one of the other, wouldn't that even get rid of the idea of a mat enforcer if this was like correctly established? The idea that you have that person in the side that you think, right, if any unruly characters start to get a bit uppity, we unleash the beast, and we violently sort them out. Like, what the hell? Like, that we have to have one of those in the gym. That, like, yeah, when people get a bit too, like, their ego starts to get built, we just release the monster, and like the monster will sort them out. But I even said that in regards to that kid who was being overly aggressive that I mentioned earlier, is that it would have been so easy, especially from the old mentality of jiu-jitsu, to just go, right, he's being a dick. You know what we're going to do to him? Be a bigger dick to him. Because that's how you end up with, like, abused children, is that they learn that violence is okay and that if you become more aggressive, you can be the bigger dog. And, you know, he's a young lad and, you know, he's being aggressive with people, even people that can absolutely spank him. And it's like, yeah, so it would have been super easy to go, actually, you know, he hurts us a little bit and go, fuck you, kid, and literally spend the next 8 minutes just spanking the life out of him. Mat Enforcer style. Instead of actually just going, whoa. Like, you know what? I'm going to actually ask you, do you want to do this? And I said that to him. I said, like, do you want to go? He went, actually, no, can we play? I was like, yeah, of course we can. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be violent. And then all of a sudden he calmed the fuck down. We actually had a really fun roll. And I was like, is that all it took? It didn't mean, you know, we've got a selection of black belts and brown belts who can absolutely hammer the crap out of someone. And it would have been so easy for any of us to go, you know, or for me to spank him and go, Nak, you've got him next. And then you spank him. And then Abbas, you get him. And then Abbas spanks him. And instead of just going, kid, you sure you want to do this? Like, you know, I'm going to keep myself back, but I'll go too if you want. And then going, actually, no, I wouldn't enjoy that. Okay, cool. Let's play then. Let's learn. And he was like, cool, let's do that. I'm like, holy shit. As if communication fixed it. Instead of just going, well, my dick's bigger than your dick and I'm going to prove it.
Dialogue is always the answer.
Yeah, but again, like, how easy it would have been and how common do you think it is for that mentality in the jiu-jitsu gym? And again, we're completely guilty of it for so long. But growth is possible.
Yes, progress. We are better humans.
Exactly. Better training environment. I think as well, like, you know, I won't put the questions out there, but if people listen to this and they go and want to send a message in or comment or somewhere and go, actually, yeah, or no, you can disagree as well and say, nah, like, tap out rules, affliction, like taste the pain, any of those things. If you want to say that those are the best ways of doing jiu-jitsu, then sure, let's have a conversation about it. But if you think, actually, what these motherfuckers are saying a lot of sense, and you agree with some of these mentalities, then yeah, sure. Like, talk to your coach. Say, hey, get your shit together. This ain't fun. Because it's very hard if you try and, like, make change from the middle.
Yeah, change is always hard. Some people can't accept change.
Are you accepting this change?
Of course.
I know.
I'm open-minded.
I know you are. And again, it hasn't been detrimental. Have you looked at any of this and gone, oh shit, it's all gone worse now?
No, because obviously I've been here from the beginning, haven't I? So I've seen it all.
That's what I mean, but like, as in, like, all these changes, I know they sound fucking mental in a general jiu-jitsu cultural way. But it's not been detrimental at all. Like, I've not seen any, or, you know, maybe not noticed or not, you know, not seen any overt kind of problems to this. As it's all been like, yeah, cool, thanks. Like, even like, you know, starting this beginner course, but then saying across the gym, like, actually, every class is going to be part of the beginner course. Like, we're not just going to have like one night of the week we're going to do a beginner course. We'll go every class. Sorry, guys, you come to class, it's beginner course. we've had more people show up from the old kind of guys who are becoming more consistent, showing up to the beginner course.
Yeah,
hey guys,
true.
we're on week 3 of learning a beginner shit, and they're all like, yeah, cool, I want to do it again. Oh.
Yeah.
It's just how we made the beginner course, because we haven't even looked at close guard or any jokes yet. And why would we?
Don't need them. Not yet.
No. I think I might write another post on the group saying that, reaffirming party doctrine.
Supreme Leader announcement.
Yeah, Supreme Leader announcement. Yeah, exactly. As it should be. It's a communist dictatorship. But maybe not North Korea. They don't do too well. No, none of them really do that well either. Some maybe China to an extent, but no one's happy. Anyway, thank you for your time, Naki. Thank you for indulging me in this thing that's been a thorn in my head again.
No problem.
And yeah, I think it's thank you for looking after the guys in the MMA course. Thank you for being a responsible coach and not causing
no problem.
Not coming in and saying, "Hey guys, get ready to have brain injuries."
Let's scrap.
Yeah, exactly.
Fight Club rules.
But you can have those hard rolls. There's nothing. You can just again morally. If you're with your friends in the gym, say that it's this guy here. We leave the gym with best buds, but I'm going to shorten his lifespan and make him be able to put words together in the future and lower his prospects of life, so I can have some fun now. That's a bit weird. Messed up. I'd love to actually, if you can go back through this podcast and hear us at the beginning, people can just be hard in the gym. You always need a Matt Force, and now we're like, you know what, guys? No, it's not the way. You'd be able to actually hear growth through this podcast now because we're on episode 83 or something.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Tonight.
Tomorrow.
It was a pleasure, dude. Good night.
Good night.